welcome to this Bitesize Technical video on pension contribution refunds. I'm Joshua Croft, Senior Technical Consultant here at AJ Bell, and I'll be having a look at the rules around when a pension contribution can be refunded. Because of the tax privileged nature of pension schemes, the rules surrounding contributions and withdrawals are strictly set out. The basic principle when it comes to pension contributions is once the money has gone in, it cannot be withdrawn until retirement age. There are a limited set of circumstances where a contribution can be refunded, and a refund that doesn't fit within these rules would be classed as an unauthorised payment by HMRC. The first allowable reason for a refund is when it meets the excess contribution condition. This can only apply to personal contributions. Refunds not only can but must be made where the member has made a contribution in excess of their UK relevant earnings for the tax year. Excess contributions can stem from having fluctuating income, such as for the self-employed, or anyone who makes a contribution towards the start of the year based on their projected earnings, but later perhaps gets made redundant, so has earnings lower than expected. Refunds can only be made once the tax year has ended, and the scheme administrator will need to see evidence of earnings for the tax year concerned. Tax relief on any excess contribution must go back to HMRC, but it's down to the administrator whether the net contribution goes back to the member or remains in the pension scheme. HMRC also allow refunds in very limited circumstances where a genuine error has occurred. This is only possible where there was no intent to make the contribution or the member was not entitled to the contribution. Mostly a genuine error will be caused by an inadvertent administrative failure outside of the member's control where the member's precise intention was not carried out. An example would be an employee who has left service but the employer contribution was not immediately stopped. As the member is no longer employed, there is no basis to accept the former employer contribution. The genuine error provision would allow for a refund of that contribution without this being viewed by HMRC as an unauthorised payment. The genuine error guidelines only cover certain circumstances where the member's precise intention was not carried out. They do not cover circumstances where there has been a misunderstanding of the rules or where the member has simply changed their mind after the fact. If a contribution was made deliberately, but later information came to light that meant the member would not have chosen to make that level of contribution, this does not make it a genuine error, and as such, contributions cannot be refunded. Exceeding your annual allowance is also not an acceptable reason for a refund under the genuine error provision. The HMRC guidance clarifies that the annual allowance charge cannot be avoided by simply undoing a contribution. In fact, not only will the individual still have made the pension input for that amount, the payment back to the individual is likely to be viewed as an unauthorised payment. And finally, if a pension scheme arrangement has been set up recently and the member was in their cancellation period, typically 30 days for pensions, then they can still exercise their right to cancel. This would allow them to have a refund of any contributions made, but the arrangement would have to be closed and it would be as if the application had never been made. It would not be possible to have a refund of contributions and leave the scheme open.